And have you ever asked yourself what you want your life to be like in the future? Have you ever done that? I'm Andy Henderson, Sherpa Guide. This is Sherpa Guidance, episode 55 on Monday. So nice to be with you all. Really good to be here. As you know, I'm on a mission to impact the lives of a million people with the work we do in business, the work we do with careers, and the work we do in health at Forward Thinking. It's all aimed to help you create a life by design. That's what I want for you. In a world of uncertainty, we want to create certainty. The way to create certainty is by looking for the answers within, creating a map from point A to point B, where we are now, to our destination, and making progressive steps towards that point that we want to be in the future. And that's just it, right? We've got 2 points, and most of us don't really understand or have these points defined. So what are these points? Point A. Point A is where you're at now, your start point. What are the facts? What are the facts surrounding your business? What are the obstacles in front of you that you're not bulldozing? What are the opportunities that exist in your business today that you're not capitalising on? You're not doing anything about it. You've got all these ideas, sometimes like a washing machine with a bunch of trainers clanking around. You've got all these ideas, but what are you doing about them? Nothing. Also, we need to understand, what the business looks like today. What's your visual interpretation of the business? What does it sound like in your business? What's the overriding noise? And what does it feel like in your business today? What do you feel like inside? Once we've got that, we understand what the point A is. We can step off that hamster wheel. We can take back control and bring some certainty back into our world. And then what we need to do is understand point B. Where do we want our business to be in the future? Where do we want our business to be in the future? Well, when we think about our business in the future, we're usually thinking revenue, profit, customers, number of employees and things. But let me tell you, point B goes beyond. There's a fifth dimension after point B that we need to consider first. We need to consider the question that I asked right at the start. What do you want your life to be like in the future? Because surely that's why we're doing this. That's why we're creating a business. That's why we're trying to move forward every day to create a better life for ourselves, a better life for our families, a better life for our customers and the wider world. Isn't that right? To get that feeling of fulfillment of doing good work, meaningful work that helps not only yourself and your family improve their lives, but the people that you serve. Isn't that right? When we get that feeling of fulfillment, the void's gone. We feel whole and complete. And that's what we want to feel like, I think. That's what some of us want to feel like. That's what I want to feel like. I want to feel like the work I do has meaning and has an impact on more people than just me. And it does, which is great. And that's why I feel constantly like I'm creating a life or a business by design. It's a great feeling, but we're not all in that same position. And certainly it's taken me a long while and I'm still learning. I'm still learning just like you guys. But I mentioned this point A and point B. We need to understand where we are. What are the facts, obstacles, opportunities? What does it look like, sound like and feel like right now where we are? Then we need to understand what we want our future to look like. But it's not just our career or our business that we need to performance measure or performance analyse or talk about how we want that to perform in the future. What we need to examine really closely is what do we want our life to be like in the future? And that question is going to be connected with our purpose. But in the absence of a clear and defined purpose, if we define what we want our life to be truly like in the future, then we can start making steps towards it. Because, guys, your business or your career or your physical body is just a vehicle to get you from point A to point B and beyond. But it's so important because, let me just show you on the flip chart. So if we've got point A here, point A, yes? And we want to travel all the way to point B. That's it. So this bit here is what we want our life to be like in the future. Sorry, what our life's like now and our business is like now. And this point here, point B, this is where we want our business to be in the future. If you're a business person, it also works for careers. This is where our career is now in our life. This is where our career, we want it to be in the future. Yeah, do you understand? Cool. But it's not just about our business and our career. There's more at stake. So there's a fifth dimension here, beyond point B. And this fifth dimension, this thing beyond point B is what we want our life to be truly like in the future. So, life. What do we want that life to be like in the future? We need to define it. What sort of life do you have? What sort of life do you want? Who's with you in that life? If you imagine yourself in 5 or 10 years' time living the life that you want to live, who's with you? Where are you? What things do you own? What things do you have? Because it's okay to want things, guys. It's okay to want things, material possessions. That's absolutely fine. It's nice to treat ourselves, to live in a lovely house, to drive a lovely car, to be able to send the children to private school. That's fine, but that's my life. I want you to define and think about your life, which is beyond point B, which is beyond where we're trying to get to in our vehicle of choice, business, career, physical body, whatever it is. We need to think beyond that, because beyond that is very closely linked to our purpose, and it's right at the top of our mountain where we see that clarity, self-belief and confidence and all that great feelings that we have. Because what is it going to feel like? What does our life in the future feel like? You know, what's it going to feel like when we get there? And of course, if we define the path between A and B, and we understand what we want our life to be like in the future, that's going to be the best guiding force. That's going to be the best magnet to take you towards that life that you want. But the problem is, they don't ask you at school. When were you asked at school? Andy Henderson, what sort of life do you want in the future? They don't ask you. Your parents, son, what sort of life do you want in the future? They don't ask you. Your manager or your boss or the director of your company, the owner, whatever. Did they ever ask you what you want your life to be like in the future? And the fourth question, have you ever asked yourself what you want your life to be like in the future? Because that is the pivotal question you need to be asking yourself before you embark on any journey of a career change, business growth, business involvement, whatever it is. You need to understand what you're doing it for. What is the outcome of business growth? What is the outcome of career growth? And the outcome of it happens after we've arrived. So how do you want your life to be in the future? Define it. Define what success means to you. Who's with you? Where are you? What things do you have and what do you own? What does it feel like in that life? When you're there, when you imagine yourself there, what do you see around you? Really, really important. You know, write this stuff down. It acts as a really strong magnet to take you there. And once you've got that, instead of constantly being at point A and just feeling like you want to move, doing this all the time, round and round in circles, going bonkers, just moving and moving, getting to Friday and thinking, bloody hell, I've worked so hard, I'm that stressed and tired, but I just don't feel like I've made any progress. It's because you're literally going around in circles at point A. But how is that going to change unless you define what your point B is and what you want your life to be like in the future? Because once you've defined what you want your life to be like in the future, then you can think about, because point B, that's the vehicle. And we're moving that vehicle from point A to point B. So we need to ask ourselves, how does that vehicle need to perform to give us the life we want in the future? So if that vehicle to get us from A to B is our business, because we're business owners, how does our business need to perform to give us that life we've defined? If it's a career we've got that we're moving towards, a better career, up the ladder, whatever you want, a different career, different path, that's absolutely fine. But what does that career need to look like? How do you need to perform in that career? What level of status do you need in that business, or level of hierarchy, or whatever you call it nowadays? Where do you need to be in order to give you the life that you want in the future? That's an absolute pivotal question. What do you want your life to be like? Because only when you understand what you want your life to be like in the future, do you then have direction? Do you then have something pulling you towards that life? So you end up getting out of this circular hamster wheel type thing, and all of a sudden you're drawn this way. Yeah, we just need to define, when is enough enough? At what point does my business or career hit that performance level that I know I've got that life? And once we've defined this stuff, we can start breaking this journey down into chunks, into sections, and start going after these sections one at a time on that journey. And guess what, guys? When you've defined your start point, and when you've defined your destination, and when you've defined what you want your life to be like and how your business or your career needs to perform to give you that life, then you can start to feel like you're making progress. And purpose, moving towards the life we want, plus progress equals fulfillment. And that is the key. That's why we need to ask ourselves constantly, what sort of a life do we want in the future? Define it, crystallize it, move towards that life, and that is a path to fulfillment. And when you've got all that, guess what happens? You start to enjoy the journey. So guys, that was Sherpa Guidance episode 55. Asking yourself what sort of life you want in the future and how important it is when you're embarking on any journey, whether it's business growth, career growth or development. If you're growing, if you're moving towards somewhere, wouldn't it be a great benefit if you could define where that somewhere was and how the vehicle that you're travelling in needs to perform to get you there. So I'm Andy Henderson, your Sherpa Guide, on a mission to impact 1 million people. It's been great to see you. Hopefully you've enjoyed the live. I'll be back on Wednesday where I'm going to show you the exact action steps you need to take to define these parts of the journey so that you can start making those progress steps and you can start enjoying that journey to a place you want to be in the future. Good to see you. And remember guys, you're just one